Okay, welcome back to the Are You Strong show. I have another Big Ten coach on the show today, and I try to read off all of my guests' accolades, to kind of get a good flavor for who's hopping on the show. But this guy has so many. I can only give a little overview. But he's a baseball coach, started his career in Upper Iowa University in 1987, and he accumulated 291 wins, that's a ton of wins. Then he went on to Northern University of Northern Iowa and accumulated another 270 wins. Which is just crazy. And I mean, just 270 wins is just a career for somebody sometimes. Then he hopped over to Indiana State, where he won the MVC regular season championship, for the first time in school history. But then he goes to University of Iowa, been there since 2014, and accumulated another 384 wins, giving him almost 1,100 total wins, which is crazy. Big Ten championship in 2017, first one in Iowa's history. And for those that are looking on YouTube, get to see this guy's office. Is really cool looking. Seven straight postseason appearances, three NCAA regional appearances, and this is really cool. He's got 34 Major League Baseball draft picks. And I don't know how accurate all this stuff is, probably higher by now, but welcome to the show, Coach Rick Heller.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now there's a lot more to read off, but there's just I'll be here for an hour reading off all of your accolades, everything you've accomplished in your tremendous career. But Rick, before I start to hit you with a bunch of questions, just do me a favor and just kind of tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of roll from there.
Well, I'm from originally from Southeast Iowa, so Iowa boy, and grew up rooting for the Hawkeyes, and came up to basketball camps when Lute Olson was here, and so to go full circle and have the stops that I had prior to coming to Iowa, it's really special for me and my family that I'm the coach here at the University of Iowa. I really look at Fayette as my home. I went to Upper Iowa out of college, or I went to college at Upper Iowa, and then I was gone 1 year. I taught high school in Bakersfield, Missouri, which is way down south, right about 4 miles from the Arkansas border, and then caught a break and was offered the head baseball job, and I was also the residence hall director. But that was the break. The biggest break for me was being offered that job, taking that job at 23 years old, and I was the youngest college coach in the country, and I don't believe it was because I was anything special. I think it was because nobody wanted the job. It was a tough job, and the situation was pretty rough, and I knew, not playing Division I or not playing professionally, that it was probably going to be my only shot to get into the college ranks, which is what I wanted to do. And so that decision and that offer really changed everything for me. And so that's a little bit about the early part. My wife's name is Rachel. I have three daughters. My oldest daughter is in Kansas City. My middle daughter is in Tampa, and my youngest daughter is a sophomore here in Iowa City at City High. And my wife's name is Rachel. And yeah, when I'm not doing baseball, which is not very often, but this is the time of year where I enjoy getting outside and doing some hunting, doing some deer
I was
hunting.
gonna say you must hunt living up there.
Yeah, we have a little farm down in southeast Iowa, close to where I grew up, and a little cabin where we can get away occasionally. And my wife grew up outdoors and hunting with her dad, and so she enjoys it as much as I do.
Oh,
So
good.
it's a good getaway this time of year when you can get away.
Yeah.
But
What kind of things do you hunt?
For me, the only season that really works out good is deer season, which is right now.
Yeah.
And if it's not a football weekend, like we play Oregon, big football weekend this weekend, we play Oregon, but we have recruits in every weekend. So on the road games, I can get down on the weekend
Yeah.
and get outside a little bit, which is a lot of fun for me. So from now until about the ABCA convention is kind of our what I would say a normal work schedule.
Yeah.
It's our slowest time, and so we enjoy doing that. I play the guitar a little bit for stress relief, and
Oh, cool.
that's love watching my daughter compete. She wrestles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Iowa, girls wrestling is pretty big.
Wrestling's big in Iowa.
Yeah, very big. And our wrestling team, Coach Brand's guys, opened up last night and started the wrestling season. My daughter started practice on Monday, and then she also plays softball.
Great. I tell you, wrestling for girls is really blowing up now. You know?
Mm. Oh, it's crazy. I mean, seeing how far it's come. In Iowa, they allowed girls to wrestle before it was strictly girls wrestling, and I thought that was really tough on both the girl and the boy.
Yeah.
To have to do that, and
Yeah.
was really happy to see them switch and go, all girls.
All girls. Yeah.
After that, it just blew up,
Yeah.
and selling out the arena for the state tournament and
Yeah.
those things. And then
That's so cool.
I also have four grandkids.
All right.
Three boys and one daughter or one granddaughter who is a junior in Kansas City, and she's a really good basketball player, so it was fun to follow her. And then my middle daughter Alyssa in Tampa has two little boys that
Okay.
love to play ball, and so they're just getting going, like 5 and or 6 and 4.
All right. Well, you got to stick around coaching long enough so they can come play for you.
Yeah, that's right.
How
Or
cool, how cool would that be?
oh, that would be cool.
You know?
Having daughters is great, but not having the chance to coach your son like I see
Yeah.
some of my colleagues, were able to do. I always thought that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Rick, I'm going to bounce around with a bunch of questions, right? And, I think coaching it's like becoming a priest. It's a calling. Like you have to have it in you to do what you do, especially at your level, but if to start out like you did years ago at a school, like you said, no, probably nobody wanted the job. You took the job and you turned that place into something really cool, and you were there for a long time.
Yep.
Then you kept growing. You went from Division 3 all the way through to Power 5, which is major step ups.
Yep.
Can you just talk about that progression of what it was like to be a D3 coach to all the way through to a Power 5 and to a perennial, powerhouse school?
Yeah, and to your first point, the calling and have it has to be in you. I guess I kind of knew at a very young age that this is what I would be doing. I mean, I love to play. I mean, I
Yeah.
really love to play. And when teachers would ask you, in seventh or eighth grade, what are you going to be doing? And if it wasn't playing, I said I'm going to be, doing something around football, baseball, or basketball. And I played all three at Upper Iowa. So my first real, I actually coached high school baseball my junior and senior year because Iowa plays summer baseball for their high school. So you could get a coaching authorization and help out in the summer. So
Okay.
that's what I would do for my summer job. And then I would play in the summer leagues around. And then I coached football. I got hurt in football my junior year, and I didn't play my senior year because I was afraid it might knock me out of baseball because it was a pretty bad injury to my
Yeah.
shoulder. And I ended up coaching high school football when I was doing my student teaching. So I coached football for a while, and then my first high school job was a basketball job. I was head basketball. I was also the baseball coach, but the job when it was advertised was for the basketball.
Yeah.
And basketball is really big in southern Missouri because a lot of those smaller schools don't play football. And then when I got to Upper Iowa, the residence hall part of that job was rough. And
Yeah.
so after 2 years, I went into Mike McCready, the AD, and I said, "Hey, Mike, if you can't find a way to get me out of the residence hall, I'm probably going to have to change jobs." And
Yeah.
he says, "Well, give me a week and I'll see what I can do." And then I ended up coaching. I was head baseball coach at Upper Iowa, and then I coached wide receivers on the football team for 10 years. So
Wow.
pretty busy schedule
How
there.
did you manage both of those?
It was challenging, and looking back, it was really pretty tough on the family just because you weren't there much, and um, to juggle it was difficult. But it also, I was really young, and so I was learning, but it taught me how to organize things really well, and it also taught me how to give accountability to the team, because in Division 3 baseball you're limited. One of the things I didn't like about Division 3 baseball, and one of the reasons why I wanted to move up to Division 1, was the fact that there were so many limitations on your time with the players.
Yeah.
The coaching side, like
Yep.
the training side. And so with the limitations that you have in Division 3, it's not a full fall schedule where you have 35 days like you do in Division 1. You might have 10 days. So when I was coaching football, I had our team organized where the captains were running practice, and people would stop by and go, "Hey, where's Rick at? Hey, he's at football practice." And they're like, "Well, who's running practice?" And they're like, "We are." That was the best compliment I could ever
Yeah.
get, that our guys were so organized and so
Yeah.
focused on doing things right, that they were doing it there. But then it's really hard to move up levels.
Yeah.
If you're a D3 guy, you get kind of labeled a D3 guy, and after that happens, it's really difficult. It just seems like people won't hire you. In fact, I was there 12 years, took a program that hadn't had a winning season in 16 years, and we were in the World Series, 9 years later.
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't get a callback or an interview of all the jobs I applied for to Division 1 level. Not one callback.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
yeah, and that really is kind of how it is. And
Is it still that way today?
yeah, it really is. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as it was.
Right.
And we'll get into the next phase. Was like back in those days, the thought of a college guy, even a Power 5 guy, going to professional baseball was unheard of unless that guy had played
Yeah.
professional baseball. And to make it to the big leagues, almost impossible. Just
Yeah.
the network, and the old boys network was set up in a way where you couldn't get in. I know a few
Yeah.
guys who did, but not many. And then fast forward 25 years, and how the game has changed and evolved, and I feel like we were really a pretty big part of that, because we were ahead of most, with the technology and the
Yeah.
analytics and the things that we were doing to try to give ourselves an advantage in the player development side. I have had two pitching coaches go from Iowa to the big leagues. I have Desi Drushel's with the Yankees now. He was with the Mets last year, the Yankees before that, but he's been in the big leagues. And then Robin Lund went right from Iowa, boom, right to the Detroit Tigers in the big leagues. I mean, and I'm sitting there shaking my head, going, "Wow, things have really
Yeah.
changed." But on the other side, it's still difficult for like a JUCO coach to get a 4-year job, because he gets labeled a JUCO guy. And I remember when I finally caught the break, and really you have to know somebody, and that's what my break was to get the job at UNI. I had really come to grips with, I was probably going to be at Upper Iowa the rest of my career. I mean, we were winning. I loved it there. They supported baseball. Our field, we'd built it up to be one of the
Yeah.
best. So, I mean, it was a good job, and I'd come to grips with that. And then right when I kind of come to grips with that, and I wasn't looking anymore, wasn't worrying about it, boom, it happens. The job opens, and so, um, again, it was a job that a lot of people didn't want. So
Yeah.
that gave me a little chance too, just like the Upper Iowa job. A lot of people in my circle, they told me not to take the Upper Iowa job. You'll never get another job. Can't win there. In my gut, I knew we could, which is why I ended up doing it.
Yeah.
But at UNI, same deal. we're playing in the Missouri Valley Conference in a time when Wichita State and Missouri State and all these guys were really really powerful teams. The whole league
Yeah.
it was a really powerful league, and um, UNI's playing in that league with 7 in-state scholarships and very little support, very little budget. You had to raise most of the budget. The actual budget only covered not even half of the games. You couldn't play half the games, so you had to raise. All we were doing was fundraising all the
Yeah.
time to try to have enough money to play. But again, that helped me get that job because a lot of guys didn't go for it. And,
Yep.
and then I had a couple people at UNI who knew me. My former summer league coach, his name was Gary Ryman, and Gary was the voice of the Panthers football and basketball. And so I had an in with Gary, and he was really lobbying hard for me and got me in the door. And then they had just hired a new AD, and we hit it off. And so anyway, I get a break and I take the job.
Yeah.
Even though I say that, it was difficult for me to leave Upper Iowa because Upper Iowa was actually a better job, because the cost of living, I was going to lose money. My daughter was going
Yeah.
to school for free. I was
Yeah.
going to have to start paying. I mean, so I took a big hit at both of those places financially to roll the dice that we could turn it in to where, maybe I could get to an Iowa someday.
Yeah.
And had I not, then, I would still be back there. But anyway, from there, once you're into the Division One, it isn't as hard to move up. But like even myself, I've done this almost 40 years, and I've been at Iowa now. This is my 13th year, and we have turned the program around. We have won every year we've been here. The program prior to us getting to Iowa, they had like 3 winning seasons in 20
Yeah.
years, and had been to only three or four conference tournaments in 20 years. And even with all of that, and 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 the roadblocks you have being in the north, having to play, in the winter, which is stupid, but we
Tough.
do all these things that are against you, and you're overcoming all these odds. It's really difficult for a northern guy to get a job in South. It's kind of the same. Well, he's a northern
Yep.
guy. So because I'm a northern guy and I overcome extreme odds and still win, you don't think I can win with advantages? I mean, it's just the dumbest thing
Yeah.
ever.
Right. So
but,
how did
but that's how it works.
yeah. How
And
how did you change the culture there? I mean, like you said, they
but
they
that's an hour talk.
yeah.
If we're talking on the culture, because that's what, I guess if you ask me to try to sum up what we do, our program is culture based, process driven, and we had to clean up the culture. We had good kids in the program, contrary to what people were telling me when I took the job. It was like, oh, you got to get rid of these guys. They're terrible. They're rotten. Whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. That's not. I
Yeah.
mean, I listen, but the first meeting was with the players. You could see in their faces that that's what they thought was going to happen. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I said, hey, here's the deal. I don't care what anybody says about you guys. Okay, I make up my own decisions.
Oh, mind. Yeah.
Everybody's got a chance to prove to me that you want to be a part of this, and that we're going to love you and care for you like we recruited you. And so everybody can take a deep breath. Everybody's going to have a shot to see if this is what they want. I'm gonna throw some things at you. I'm going to hold you accountable for some things that maybe haven't happened. Um, and we're going to work really hard on the player development side. And if at the end of this, you don't want to be a part of it, or anytime you don't, then it's going to be you coming to me and saying, hey, I'm going to move on or whatever. It's not
Yeah.
going to be, it's not going to be me just cleaning house. That's not how we do it. And consequently, when you do it that way, you have a chance to get off to a fast start, and that's what
Yeah.
we did. And those kids embraced it. They wanted it. Um, and by Christmas, I knew we were going to have a pretty good year just because of the buy-in that we were getting, and
Yeah.
the improvement that the kids were making, and we certainly did. We won 30 games, and we won a game in the conference tournament, and our 2 losses were really close. And on the bus ride home from Omaha, I told my assistant Marty Southern, I said, this bus ride is going to tell us a lot about next year, because we returned a lot of those guys. We had a whole bunch of juniors on that team. We did lose some to the draft, but most of them were coming back, and we were going to have our first recruiting class. to add to it, and on the bus ride home, nobody said a word, which was I was hoping would happen. They weren't like happy jumping up and
Yeah.
down, because we won a game in the tournament. They were mad because we felt like we could have won the tournament. And
Yeah.
I told Marty when I got off the bus, I go, next year you watch, we're gonna have an amazing year. And we did. We won 40 plus games and beat Oregon twice in the regional and almost won the regional in year two.
Yeah.
And yes, I think we do as good a job as any, maybe, as good a job, if not better than anyone on the actual player development, the baseball side. But I also believe the big reason for our consistency and the big reason that we've been able to sustain and grow is because of the culture building and the leadership building that we do um, with our team. And really, we're talking more about with the team here at Iowa. We were talking more about the 20 hours you're not with them. You're talking about when they're off the field.
Yeah.
You can't be the guy that's committed, at practice and be a completely different person off the field if you're going to win and overachieve, which is what we try to do. I guess that's how it's subjective, but that's kind of how I judge whether we did a good job as a staff. Did we overachieve or not? And
Hmm.
that's the goal. And to do that, it has to be a 100% process driven, and it has to be everyone um, being unselfish and playing for the right reasons and not having hidden agendas and all of the things that tear a team apart. I would
Yeah.
I would tell you that we're pretty good at that, at getting kids, number one,
Buy in.
but yeah, getting kids to buy in. But and I guess that starts with trying to pick the right kid in
Yeah.
the recruiting process, which is another hour conversation right now because it's changed so much. It's very
Oh
difficult.
my God.
It's very difficult to do that now, but we still try our
Yeah.
best to pick the right kids and let them know what it's going to be like here before they get here. Because believe it or not, Jeff, not every kid wants that. Not every kid wants to be coached. Not every kid wants to be pushed. Not every kid
Yeah.
um, has a desire to be the very best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And that kid that just wants to be left alone and let me play, not the place. It's
Yeah.
just not going to happen. I mean, because
So when
we're going to coach them every day.
Yeah. So when you're out recruiting, Rick, what do you look for in a student athlete to say, hey, that young man is the right fit for our program?
Well, that's well, first of all, and I tell the kids that come to our camps, um, you're obviously looking for the kid that plays hard and hustles everywhere, and you can see him being a good teammate in the dugout, and you watch him play catch before the game, and he's playing intentful catch, and he's doing things the right way. He's not um, he's not showing bad body language. He's not showing selfish tendencies. If he strikes out, all those things. I tell those kids, we're looking for kids that have a lot of energy, positive energy. We're looking for kids that love to play. Okay. But that doesn't mean if you are that guy that you're going to get recruited, we're going to offer you a scholarship, because there has to be a certain skill level. So
Sure.
when we talk about this, you get your kids in that skill level that you're looking for, and then you go to work on trying to find the ones in that group
Right.
that you're actually going to recruit. And I'm the guy that, or we're the team that a lot of guys will come up and say, why didn't you go after that guy? And we're just like, I mean, you don't say it to them, but it's like, oh, I don't know, you can't get them all or whatever. But that guy probably was, in our opinion, had selfish tendencies, or
Right. It's not the right fit.
parents could be a problem.
Yeah.
All of those things factor in. And the way you find out that information, I mean, the kid can fool you, especially if he knows you're there. You're going to see the best version, but not always.
Yeah.
And in rural Iowa, rural Midwest, a lot of the kids, it's really hard, because you see a kid do something maybe that a 40-year Power Five coach doesn't like. But now, being older and mature, I say, was it the kid, or has he never been told not to do that, or has
Yeah.
he
Never
ever
been
been
taught.
taught that that's
Yeah.
not the right thing to do? And I know,
Right.
growing up in the state, you know, a lot of kids just don't know. So
Yeah.
you can't just cut them off right then. And the younger me probably would have,
Right.
just move on and go. Now it's like, I wonder if that's really who he is, or has he just not been taught?
Yeah.
Because I've
Hasn't really been coached.
yeah,
Right.
and I've had kids come in, or you talk to them on the phone and say, why would you do that? He's like, well, I didn't really even realize.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's not good. No, you don't want to do
Yeah.
that. So that,
Yep.
but asking, you know, asking other coaches in the school about them, or other people that in the community, you're going to get a more honest answer from them than you actually will from their high school coach,
Yeah.
travel coach, because they're not going to say anything to hurt them most of the time. Now, some guys will be completely
Yeah.
honest with you, but not all. And so doing a little extra research, and then just when you get them on campus, which now you can't get them on campus unless it's for a camp, and so that's important, trying to get kids to camp now. But you can't get them to campus until after August 1 of their junior year, which I think is a horrible rule.
Yeah.
It's a horrible rule, and it's really hurt us here at Iowa, because we are a culture building based.
Yeah.
We're looking for that. So building relationships with those kids as they were growing in high school, getting to know their parents and their family, the families getting to know us, and really understanding what we're about before the onslaught hits on August 1st. We don't get that opportunity anymore, and
Yeah.
it really hurts us, because a lot of times, if you don't have a chance to talk to that kid and explain how things work, and get them to think about what's really important in making your decision to go to college, all the shiny things and all the bright and shiny things that don't really matter, they hit them at the same time. And
Yeah. Get in the way.
yeah, well, and now it's money too.
Oh my God.
A lot
Yeah.
of those places can outbid you,
Right.
and the odds of you getting that kid are pretty slim now. If
Right.
you're coming in at the same time with those people that have all the advantages.
Now, how do you handle that now, Rick? I mean, recruiting, 40 years ago till
Oh,
today, or even from 2013 till today, it's just like you said, it's money. Some of these
it's
kids are
hard.
like, just show me the money. Like how do you handle that now in today's world? And plus, you see what's going on in the football world. These poor guys, man, you don't win enough games halfway through the season, they're getting fired. Like, how does that work in the baseball world?
Well, it's almost the same, to be honest with you. You haven't seen the mass firings, because now you were seeing a lot of firings prior to this year, but this year you didn't, and that was because all the ads were trying to figure out how in the heck they were going to manage the rev share and all those
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
the last thing they were worried about was paying a baseball coach's buyout.
Right.
So no, guys didn't get fired very much this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But that's going to
Gonna
eventually
happen?
change. The thing that frustrates me, I've always been at underdog schools and always had to find ways, and have always really had your back against the wall, with advantages recruiting, and had to do it with coaching baseball better, or out culturing people, to be able to win. The frustrating part for me, and the part that really has me bothered, is now you can't outwork somebody. I mean, I can spend hours and hours with you doing Zoom calls, showing you presentations on what we teach hitting and
Yeah.
pitching, and do it the right way, and spend maybe 10 hours we've spent on calls, and showing you all the things that we do. And now we lose a kid on one phone call. Boom. Never talked to the guy, never visited, have no clue if the guy's going to be able to teach him anything.
Yeah.
Boom, money gone. So now, um, the frustrating part is, like, you're kind of at the mercy of the how deep the pockets are of your booster pool.
Yeah.
And if you don't have billionaires in that booster pool that are willing to throw millions and millions into
Yep.
the fund, what are you going to do? I
Yeah.
mean, there's just
You
no way.
can't compete with it.
There's no way to beat it. Well, and this is the double whammy, Jeff. The double whammy is we have a transfer portal where you can leave every year.
Yeah.
So prior to that, I could say, if I was recruiting you, I could say, Jeff, why would you go to X school down south? Take a look at this spreadsheet. Here's the last 35 kids that have left the state. look at the percentages of success. It's like 3%.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, the guys who have actually made it when they left our state for greener pastures is so small. Well,
Yeah.
now, okay, School X is offering me a full ride plus $50,000. All right, and if it doesn't work, I can call you and say, hey, Coach Heller, can I come back to Iowa? And
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
And so you can't even scare them now. It's because
Right.
like, why wouldn't I go? Right? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't I go?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the money. If I don't get a play or it doesn't work
Yeah.
out or they don't care about me, then I'll just go back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been uh, a funny thing. It's kind of been our niche because we had, I think it was 7 or 8 of those kids that came back
Came back.
last year that
Yep. So what kind of
jumped in
money?
that boat.
What kind of money are they throwing at baseball players now? And
Oh,
like the football guys are getting millions, the
oh,
really,
there's
really good
baseball
ones.
guys. There's baseball guys that have gotten millions.
Really.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's crazy in the portal when that is going crazy. The way when it was going with NIL, and they had the collective side of the NIL,
Yeah.
which they're trying to do away with, but I think guys have just somehow, they're maneuvering around and going to the business side and
Yeah.
finding ways to do it. But now, depending on, it's so messed up now. I mean, you got schools that are on 34 full scholarships now. And then you got schools who didn't get any or sitting
Yeah.
at 11.7. You got schools that have 34 scholarships and $1 million rev share or
Yeah.
$500,000 rev share. And you got schools that have 11.7 and no rev share. And it is just so unequal and so unfair now with the rev share because each school has a choice what to do, and then you still have those schools that have really good avenues. Their collectives flipped and went into the business model, and now they have 10 businesses that take care of baseball, and they
Yeah.
really didn't drop out of that race. So up until this year, that you're going to get a kick out of this. Up until this year, I had offered 3 full rides in my career, and they were all 3 poker hands. It was like, why not just throw it out there? We really didn't have it. We
Yeah.
knew it was a long shot, and he was being recruited by the top names in the country,
Yeah.
and they were going to be able to, with their supplemental aid or whatever they were doing, they're going to be able to get him full ride, probably full ride plus. So we knew that we had no shot on those guys, so we just threw it out there, and we didn't get either one of
Yeah.
them, any of the 3. Okay, this year with an Iowa kid, okay, an Iowa kid, in-state kid, so old school 11.7, we could get an Iowa kid for 40, 50%, the top kid, because that's
Yeah.
full tuition, whatever.
Yep.
And if we aren't offering a full ride now to the better players, even in our state, you have no chance. On August 1, the best kids in Iowa had all been offered multiple full rides somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. And that's mind boggling to me.
Yeah. So how many full rides can you offer now?
Well, I mean, it's up to each school.
Okay.
Baseball is an equivalency sport. Always has been. It's been 11.7 scholarships for whatever your roster cap was. We were at 40 after COVID. We were 35 pre-COVID. Then they went to 40. Now, in the rev share world, everybody has a roster cap, every sport. I don't know if you know this or not, but baseball was the only sport that had a roster cap prior to the rev
Okay.
share world. So we were the only one that had experience with a roster cap. Now, what the NCAA did, the NCAA said, listen, no more equivalency sports. Okay. No more.
Now, what does that mean, equivalency sport?
Well, you have football and basketball are full ride sports.
Right.
Every player on the team has a full ride.
Okay.
The rest of the sports, track has a certain number that they split up. We have 11.7 split up
Got it.
for those 40 guys. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then most of the other sports are equivalency sports as well. Softball, soccer, golf, whatever, wrestling. But the general public all thinks in terms of full rides. They think every kid's on a full ride.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's not the way it is. So baseball was an equivalency sport. Well, I've wondered for years. We have all these lawsuits going on, and I'm like, why hasn't somebody sued in baseball, a baseball guy? Because
Yeah.
you get baseball players that take their team to Omaha and are second round draft picks and leave college with $60,000 in loans or $70,000 in loans. You know, when you have these other guys, the last player on the football team and the last player on the basketball team is full ride.
Yeah.
And it's always been mind boggling to me, but that's what we were dealt with. Well,
Right.
now the NCAA, I think for fear of a lawsuit, said nobody is an equivalency sport anymore, but it's up to each institution to decide how many scholarships they're going to give within the roster cap. So baseball now we're 34. Okay. So that means every school could give 34 full rides
Okay.
if they choose to. And that's where you're getting I was talking earlier, the inequity
Right.
in our game.
But for you, does that open?
Some to 34, you still have some with 11.7.
But does that open up your pocketbooks now that you can offer more kids more money?
Well, it does if you have it, but if the school gives you more, but if they don't, then
I hope they give you more.
Yeah, you hope, but
Yeah.
that hasn't happened yet. So
Right.
it's just that's the game.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Let me.
I guess here we go to sum things up. I think all of us who've done it for a while are really hopeful that this is only year one with revenue share and all the new stuff.
Right.
And hopefully, the commissioners, now that the power commissioners are more in charge and making more of the decisions, and the NCAA is kind of taking a little different role, that we can clean it up and hopefully bring it back to more of a fair and normal, more normal system. Because right now it's just like I said, if you don't have crazy money in your booster pool, which
it's tough.
If Iowa, it's not that kind of state. It's just not.
Yeah. So let me ask you this crazy question. I mean, you guys play in regular season like 50 games, right?
56.
56.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and as a head coach, you've been dealing with this for 40 years almost. Like, how do these kids balance 56 regular season games, life and school, and just mental strength for all that time, and all squeezed into 3.5 months?
Well, it's not easy, but also once they're in the system, and especially for a freshman after they make it through the first semester, it's not as bad as you would think.
Okay.
Actually, once the new guys make it through the first 6-8 weeks, and get adjusted and figure out how the system works and get there, it really forces them to be insanely organized. And if they're not, they don't make it.
Right.
And the fall's worse than the spring, believe it or not, even with the games. And this is a northern guy who has to travel a lot and miss school for travel. But most schools, I think, have this, but we have priority scheduling. So all of our guys are done with class by noon, unless it's a special circumstance.
Yeah.
Senior, this had to take this or whatever.
Yep.
And we avoid the days that we travel. We try to avoid the days where we know we're going to have a heavy miss number. And then do a really good job on the road. Mornings on Fridays, there's study times, and if a guy's organized and he cares about his classwork, he can do fine. Excuse me. And then I think a lot of the Big Ten schools, they were kind of the last ones to cave in and let kids take a lot of online courses. A lot of the mid-majors in the North, I mean, every one of their kids, even before COVID, they were 15 hours of online, so they could not miss class. The Big Ten schools, and I know at least Iowa for sure, they didn't like that at all. They wanted the kids in their seats in class.
Yeah.
Well, after COVID, everything kind of loosened up, and now our guys are able to take more online classes, which really helps a lot during that spring.
Yeah, they could take it from the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to,
Yeah, and in the modern world, I mean, a kid misses a class, he can get his notes, or he can get all the information he had in that class in most classes on the bus or wherever we're at.
Yeah.
An hour after a class is over. So it's way easier now for kids to handle the academics. But it's not easy if you if you don't have a high level of care.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's because it's
Yeah.
really easy to
Yeah.
just fall off the cliff
Sure.
and just
You got to be disciplined. You
yeah,
got to bring the discipline, self accountability, right?
right. Well, and you got to talk about it in your team and your
Yeah.
captains and your. I mean, it has to come in all. They have to be getting hit from all areas, and then that's one of the really nice things at a power school is you have so much support staff help, and our
Yeah.
academic people do a great job. I mean, they're meeting with them, they're meeting with us,
Yeah.
at the study center, and it just you just have to stay on them. And as the head coach, it can't be lip service that it's important because it is the most
Yeah.
important thing, and that's why they're here.
Yeah.
Um, and like I tell them, um, if we have a bunch of guys that fail miserably, then do you really think they're going to let us travel as much, or they're going to start whacking at a Big
Oh,
Ten?
yeah.
They're so we have
Yeah.
to earn the ability
Isn't
to
that
travel
crazy?
the way we need to.
Yeah. I think it's harder, you know, to play college baseball than professional baseball,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
Other than I will say, I mean, it's a grind. I mean, the
Yeah.
number of games when you jump up to 142 and then
Right.
162 in the big leagues. I mean, it's hard for anyone to comprehend that. How we were watching the World Series and the quality of play and how awesome the World Series was. Right, it was just a
Yeah. Always
fantastic
great.
World Series. Those guys have been going since mid-February.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just the toll on the body if you're not super. Again,
Yeah.
um,
Did you have any guys in the series?
I did. We had a pitcher on the Dodgers that won it, Jack Dreyer,
Cool.
left-handed pitcher out of the bullpen. It was his first year in the big leagues,
Yeah.
and he pitched extremely well all season long for the Dodgers, and
That's
really,
got to make you feel like a proud father,
oh, for sure,
right?
yeah, it was great. It was awesome, and we had we had uh, I had another guy. He didn't play at Iowa. I had a guy that played for me at UNI and then also at Indiana State. Colin Ray was one of the starters for the Cubs, so he was in play.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Now, do you bring these guys back a lot to talk to the team?
if they're in the area,
Yeah.
um, now like Colin is 34, 35 years old, and he still comes and works out in our facility.
That's great.
I mean, it's so much fun once we start back in January because on any given day we might have 15 pro guys in there working out with us, and then like Mitch Keller for the Pirates. Mitch didn't he signed out of high school, but Mitch is at Cedar Rapids. You might see Mitch Keller throwing a bullpen that day, or Keaton Wynn, who plays for the Giants. He lives in South.
Yeah.
So they might be up here. I mean, it's just awesome
It's
to
got to be a lot
have
of
those
fun.
guys around. Yeah,
Oh my God. So tell me, what's Hellerball all about?
I would tell you what we just talked about. What a lot of the fans think. They think it's I don't know, like when we happen to squeeze in a run or when we do something
Right.
uh, that some people like with the small ball stuff. Um, but it actually it's funny, it came from one of my former players at UNI. Um, I had a set of twins, and it was Brandon and Brett Douglas, and they were from a little dinky school. The school's name was I-35, which Interstate 35,
On
which
the
was
highway. Yeah. Yeah.
I-35 Truro.
All
And,
right.
and they were both, their dad was a coach, and they were both, really good players. And when I was first hired at Iowa, and I think we beat Nebraska the very first Big Ten win, and Brett tweeted it out. He's like, "Oh, that's just Hellerball or whatever." So he's the one that threw it
He
out there.
started it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and he'll remind people that every once in a
Yeah.
while.
You got to write a book called Hellerball.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of writing a book. My story's kind of crazy, and on the personal side, you know a lot of stuff that we won't get into. But I've had a bunch of people say, "Man, you need to write a book. You need to write a book."
Yeah.
So
I mean,
kind
you
of
got
kind of
40
kind of
years.
kind of dabbling in it right now in the
Yeah.
middle.
All right. I mean, 40 years and over 1,100 wins. There's got to be a lot to write about,
Yeah, yeah, and
you
I
know?
find out it's not easy to
Yeah.
do it because
So,
you don't want to
let-
leave this guy out or these guys
yeah. Well, you're going to leave somebody out. Someone's not going to be in there, right?
out, right?
So have you come up with any, as a coach for all your years, as you grew and developed in the rankings of the college levels and then all the winning you've done, what kind of non-negotiables have you started to put in play that maybe you didn't have before that you have now?
Are you talking like with the team or
Yeah,
just in
with
general or?
just with the team, and this is the expectations, and this is what you expect.
Well, you know, I felt like in the first 5 years, I had good advice from some mentors on being a lifelong learner, don't ever quit learning, game will pass you by, stuff like that from guys like Rick Matthews, who's with the Rockies, and anyway, just some good people gave me some good advice. But I was so young. Um, I think being humble enough and not having a big ego that said I knew everything when I didn't,
Mm.
being able to look in the mirror and say, "Hey, I'm over my skis," and I'm at a D3 school where I have to coach everything. I didn't have paid assistants the first 2 years, so I mean, I'm coaching pitchers, catchers, whatever. And so I kept playing, and I set a goal for myself that I wanted to have a solid foundation or a solid philosophy for everything. I mean, that's the way. If you said, "Hey, what's your philosophy?" Well, that's really difficult because are you talking hitting, team offense, team defense,
Yeah,
infield, catching, pitching, culture, all that stuff. So I kind of set that up in the first 5 years, and that was the smartest thing and best thing I could have done because since then I've been able to just cherry pick and add in every one of those buckets until today. And I mean, it's such a great world. It was really hard to get information even 10 years ago.
yeah,
Now I usually pick up 5 new infield drills every night and send them to my email and then put them in a file. And
yeah,
I mean, it just the chances and opportunities out there to be a better coach are so much. It's right at your fingertips.
yeah.
In the old days, you had to work at it. There was
Right.
only a few videos, and it was tough. And you didn't go to clinics, and you can't go to clinics every day. And so I mean, it was tough to find the info. But I was always searching. But anyway, non-negotiables for me is, I guess I would tell you on the team side is just I don't tolerate selfish. I don't tolerate selfish people, players.
Hmm.
Um, I'll work with them. It's not like we just whack them if we miss on it
Yeah.
because ultimately we were the ones that brought them here. But I know for our team in our situation how hard we have to play and how perfect we have to try to play to win games and to do it day in and day out. If you have guys who aren't team guys, selfish guys, me guys, or worried about myself, you can't do that. It's
Yeah.
impossible. They will tear that apart.
They tear the locker room apart.
Yeah, they'll tear it apart. And we have an amazing culture right now, and it's gotten better for 13 years. But if we didn't put the work in, if we didn't make it our number one priority, it could go right back to square one in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. And that's why so many people struggle with it because it is such hard work and it's every day. It's not randomly. It can't be when you feel like it. You know what I mean? And after 40 years, you're like, man, I wish this could be easier. Maybe I should look the other way. As soon as you look the other way, then it's going to spiral, and then, like you said, it's gonna erode from inside
Yeah.
because you lose respect.
Yeah.
Think back to when you were playing. The thing that I made a mental note even then is like when I was on teams where, say, the best player, there were a different set of rules for him than the backup, and the backup would get screamed at, yelled at, ran, but this guy
Yeah.
could do that. Made me so mad,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I will never do that if I'm the coach. I won't look the other way.
Yeah.
Everybody has to be held accountable. You have to coach your best players hard. If you can't do that, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot. If you're not humble, like in all of my years, and I've had good players that weren't humble, but none of those guys overachieve. The only guys that overachieve are guys who are humble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that makes
Yeah.
sense. And
Yeah.
so it's a constant search for the right guy, or for me, it's like constantly trying to get the guys on the fence to go to this side.
Yeah.
And when you have a great locker room and you have great leadership within your locker room, it's way easier to get those guys to go to this side.
Yeah.
And then you're going to miss on guys. And so if you have two or three guys that maybe are leaning towards the me or the selfish side, they don't have a group to commiserate with. Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
and
Makes a
and
ton of
and,
sense.
and then when and luckily for me, I mean, it's taken a lot of work by us. But if somebody is complaining or somebody is doing something when there's no coaches around, I have guys that will tell them to shut up, or go see the coach. If you're going to bitch
Yeah.
about it, then go see him, because his
Yeah.
door's open. And we do player meetings all the time. We do individual meetings once a week with every player on the team. We rotate coaches, so I'll have six this week, my assistant six, the other
Yeah.
assistants, and that doesn't stop all year long. And so there's every opportunity for a guy who isn't happy to express himself. And so having a strong enough group and the right guys in your clubhouse that are the leaders, it
Yeah.
just makes things better. But that would be a non-negotiable for me. Once I realize that we have an issue with that, we address it, we hit it up front, we try to get the kid to make an adjustment, ask if he
Yeah.
wants to make an adjustment or whatever. But at the end of the day, that kid has to go. You see guys leaving our program, which we've only I'm trying to think, we've only lost, like, in this whole portal world where kids are leaving all the time.
Yeah.
I think we've only lost three that I didn't really foresee happening.
Right.
But when you see guys coming in and out, a lot of times here it's because they don't want the team stuff.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
like that.
That's awesome. I mean, in today's world with the transfer portal, the kids are coming left and right.
Yeah,
For you
yeah.
to
So
for you to be able to say you only lost three in all these years, man, that's amazing.
well, kids, that's a great thing, and that's probably the best compliment that you can have, is that kids want to be in our program.
Yeah.
And now when we lose recruits, this is why it hurts, because when you lose them for money, they're the families or the agents or advisors or whatever.
Yeah.
The kid that's like, hey, I really want to come. I want to play for you guys, but
Money.
it's $60,000 a year. Most families aren't going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's painful. Well, let me,
It is painful.
how about for you, Rick? I mean, 40 years of coaching, you're coaching at the elite, the highest level of college baseball. The competition doesn't get any better. How does a coach like you at your level, how do you keep trying to find new ways to get better yourself? Or are you at the pinnacle? Like there's really not much left you can do.
No, no, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. I think as soon as you start thinking that, then it's time to hang them up.
Yep.
Um, no, I just really enjoy. I really really enjoy being on the field with the guys. I really enjoy the teaching and seeing kids get better. That side of baseball. I'm
Yeah.
not a recruit and just roll the balls out guy. And if you're not really good, then find another one. That's
Yeah.
that's not me. I got in it because I love baseball, and I also feel like growing up, and this isn't a knock on my coaches. It's just that it is what it is. Guys only knew what they knew, and
Yeah.
I wish I would have been taught a lot of things, because I think it would have changed my direction maybe as a player. Because I think, okay, gosh, if I'd have known that, I mean, because I was a guy, I'd run through the wall. If you told me it's going to help me hit better,
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
better, I was gonna do whatever you told me.
Yeah.
I just wasn't getting it because nobody knew. And no, and great guys and great leaders, all that stuff, but just not a lot of actual instruction. And I just said to myself when I started coaching, and it's as important to me now, 40 years into it, as it was in year one. I made a lot of mental notes that I don't want a guy to leave my program and ever say, God, if he would have showed me that, I maybe could have played pro ball, or
Yeah.
I could have kept playing. Um, so we strive really hard to make sure that every one of our players, when they leave here, know themselves, can coach themselves, know their analytics, know their metrics. They know everything about their movement profile. We try to close every bucket, and whether it's vision or movement or diet or the weight room, whatever each kid, and then all the pitchers know all their numbers, where they should be, how to read them, so
Yeah.
that when they do get the pro ball, they can pass people quickly, and they can also filter bad information. If it's bad, they can smile out that
Yeah.
because they know themselves like the back of their hand. That's our goal for every kid.
Yeah.
Um, and that motivates me still. But it's just I enjoy the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm a grinder, have been, had to be, but I enjoy the everyday process of going out, and I still, I'm the head coach. I still coach the infield, and I do the team defense, and I help out with the hitting. Still, um, I'm still active with
Yeah.
that
You're
stuff
not
because
you're
that's
not
the
just a
part.
figurehead head coach. You're involved.
No, I'm involved
Yeah.
in our program with how it works. I mean, I have to be, but I love it too. I mean,
Yeah.
that to me is the fun part. In today's world, I spend so much time fundraising in 5 different buckets and doing this and that. That's the part that's beating me up after
Yeah.
39, 40 years, is that the percentage of the fun stuff that I really love and why I got into it just keeps getting
Smaller and
smaller and
smaller.
smaller, because
Mm.
I ultimately, as the head coach, I have to do whatever it takes for us to have a chance to win. If I have
Yeah.
to do a bunch of stuff, which I'm going to have to do later today, that I don't enjoy doing, I got to do it. I mean, that
Gotta
doesn't
do what you
matter.
gotta
It doesn't
do.
matter whether I like it or not. It's
Yeah.
just, you have to do it. You
Just
have to
do
get
it.
the job done, or we're going to lose. I
Yeah.
got to find a way,
Yeah.
and that's not acceptable. So we're just going to figure it out. But then the other thing is, I really enjoy the learning. Like I talked about, like I still enjoy reading or finding something that I think can help me be a better infield coach, or a
Yeah.
better hitting coach, or better helper for our pitchers, or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
The the lifelong learner side has stuck with me, and I also have always believed that we're constantly meeting with the players. Okay, here's your plan. This is what you need to do to get better, right? This is what you need to do in the off season to get better. This is what you need to do during the season to get better. When we meet after the season, when you go to summer ball, this is what I'd like to see you come back better at.
Yep.
And I tell our staff all the time, if we're asking our players like we do, then all of us need to get better too, and all of us need to improve, and that never changes. And as long as I'm doing this, when I stop doing that or stop wanting to get better or learn more, it's time to quit.
Time to hang it up.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this question. This is kind of go right in line with this. And these numbers might be off,
Mm-hmm.
but you've coached 47 all Big Ten guys. You've had 14 All-Americans, 34 major league draft picks.
Well,
Like
yeah,
what?
I think that one. I just kind of looked at that.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, but you probably got
Uh,
more.
Let me see.
You probably got more. But what
55.
traits do these
We've
guys
had
have?
55 pro players.
55. Jesus.
Yeah,
55.
just at Iowa, just at
Yeah,
Iowa.
that's crazy. So, what traits do these guys have? Like, what gets a guy to become a all Big Ten, an All American, a major league? Like, what traits do these guys have that gets them to that level?
Hmm. Well, um, back to the recruiting, when we talked about that, there has to be
Yep.
a certain skill level, right?
Yep.
So there's a certain skill level,
Yeah.
and then um, I guess I would say consistency. I mean, it really. I mean, we talk about consistency, and it's like cliche or whatever, but really, consistency is the superpower of the best. And those are the guys who, one, they believe in the process. They're not results driven, and that's hard. We're in college. I feel like we're at the ground floor, ground level, for teaching kids that it is a process and not about results. Because you think about it, all through school, you're graded. It's always
Yeah.
results, right? And C, B, A.
Yeah.
Your parents, no fault of theirs. What are you hitting? Are you hitting 400, 300,
Yeah.
350? It's all numbers and stats, and
Yep.
it's all results. And then they get here, and we're telling them to throw all that in the trash and talk about a quality at bat, and we're talking about win the next pitch, and all these mental games. The mental game. We teach the mental game as much or and better, I think, as much as we can. I've never finished the season and did a staff debrief and said, man, I wish we wouldn't have done more that much
Yeah.
mental game stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, we spend a lot of time on it. We try to teach kids routines for everything they do, and that's where it starts, because none of them have it. I
Yeah.
mean, and they live and die. They live and die with results.
Right.
The best of the best don't. I mean, it isn't that they don't care. I mean, everybody cares about the results, but they know that it's a process, and you have to. Baseball will eat you alive if you play results. It's got to
Right.
be next pitch. It's got to be next pitch.
But baseball's a game of failure.
It is, and here I'll tell you this: the guys who learn to deal with failure in a positive way are the ones that you're talking
That win. Yeah.
about. Yeah, and this is funny. If you take out Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, take those guys out.
Yeah.
The 85% of the big leaguers that are left, they're going to be graded out. If every scout came and graded every player, my guys, 85% of them are going to grade out just like the major leaguers, 85%. And same in single A, same in double A,
Yep.
same in triple A. And I tell my guys that all the time. And Robin Lund was my pitching coach for 4 years, and now he's in the big leagues with the Tigers. and he came back after his first year in the big leagues, and he said, "Hey Rick, when things slow down here, I want to talk to the team." I'm like, "Awesome, what do you want to talk about?" He goes, "You know how you tell the guys from time to time about how they grade out the same as all the major leaguers?" He goes, "I used to sit in the back of the room and roll my eyes and go, 'You're foolish.'" He goes, I thought you were just
Yeah.
blowing
Yeah.
smoke. And he said it was about 3 weeks into spring training, and we had his last year. He coached his last year, 2 years with us. We had the Big Ten Pitcher of the Year both years, and we had some really talented arms when
Yeah.
Robin was here. Robin said it hit him as he was working with the Tigers. He said, "Rick, my staff last year at Iowa were just as talented, if not more, even with raw ability.
Yeah.
The guys I was working with." He said, "The difference, and this is what I want to tell the guys. I want to tell the guys, one, what you're saying is true, but two, the guys in the big leagues have elite elite focus, elite thirst for knowledge,
Yeah.
elite training, elite eating.
Elite drive.
That 85%, they can't
Yeah.
get away, with doing things wrong."
Yeah.
And he said they just want to be the best, and they
Yeah.
compete so hard. And he said that's the difference, and he's right. And that's what, the minor leagues are tough. They're unfair, probably the most unfair system. If you sign for a 100,000, I signed for 2 million, and I'm hitting 180 and you're hitting 310, and I get moved up, you're going, what in the world? But
Yeah.
it's a system set up to weed out the guys who aren't mentally tough.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
guys that move up are the ones that can deal with all the BS
Yeah.
and all the failure and all the unfairness, and do it in a positive way and just keep playing the next pitch, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's the
Yeah.
system, and the system's designed to weed out the weak
Yeah.
up here,
Yeah.
and
So
so
he's going to carry that story for the rest of his coaching career.
right, yeah.
Right.
I'm just glad that he verified that I was
Yeah.
telling the truth. But I had read that. I had read that a long time ago, and then I just kind of watched the whole process. I look at my guys, and I look at when
Yeah.
I see a minor league game or whatever, and then I see the big league games, and the guy that wrote it, he was 100% right. It's just the effort, the energy,
Yeah.
being able to show up and do it every day. And that's why I said it's consistency. At the end of the day, you can throw all of the stuff we're talking about And it's, are you going to show up every
Yeah.
single day? And are you going to show up when you feel bad? Are you going to show up when you don't want to? You're going to show up when
Yeah.
your girlfriend broke up with you. You're going to show
Yeah.
up, when somebody passed away in your family.
Yeah.
You know, those are the guys that are the elite.
Elite. Yeah. So that kind of answers the next question I was going to ask you. You kind of beat me to it. But I was going to say, outside of winning, how do you as a coach define success?
Um, I hit on a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
from a big picture, from a big picture, we set as a staff, and we break down how all different phases of the game went, hitting, whatever. And did we overachieve? So our goal is to overachieve every single year. And that's, to me, that's how I kind of measure success, because let's face it, the ball doesn't always bounce your way in baseball. The calls don't go your way. There's a lot of uncontrollables, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot. And there are certain years, and you do this long enough, it's weird. It's kind of like, it seems like it's every 7 years or so that you just have a weird year.
Yeah.
And when I say weird, it's like you could play really well and lose a lot of games. Or on the other side, you could have it go your way. It's like we're not playing so well, but we're catching every break. We're getting
Yeah.
every bounce, and we're winning all these games. And then you build the confidence, and you keep rolling.
Yeah.
Um, but I've had really good teams that just were snake bit, and
Yeah.
in 50, it sounds like 56 games is a lot, but it's really not in the big picture of baseball. And 162, the law of averages usually work
Yeah.
their ways out. In 56, sometimes they don't,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they don't, there's just not enough games to work it out. And so that's what I look at. I mean, really don't look at I mean, obviously results and wins are great. And last year, here's a great example. Like last year was the first year of the new Big Ten. Okay. So we got 17 teams now in the Big Ten. We don't play divisions.
17.
We don't play divisions. And we just added UCLA, USC, Washington, and Oregon. And we're, our team turned over almost everybody. We only had like 3 starters back. We lost all of our pitching except for one guy. We got one break. We had a draft eligible sophomore, Cade Overmiller. Cade came back, and that gave us a Friday night guy and to build on. But other than that, I mean, it was all new faces, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is the year you really want the experienced team, coming into this new
Yeah.
league, and how tough it's going to be. It's going to be 10 weeks of conference play now, and whew, it's an unfair schedule. You miss 6 teams, and it's luck of the draw, and it could be harder, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh man, I hope we can really get off to a good start, get going. Well, last year's team, we played on the last day of the season against Oregon, and if we win a share of the Big Ten championship. And we didn't get it done, but for about a 6-7 week period, I don't know that I've had a team that played as well day in and day out as these guys did. I mean, they maxed out everything they had, and at the end, we stayed healthy too, and so we caught a break there. And that's the other thing, if you suffer injuries, it's what do you do? Um, this team stayed really healthy until the very end. We had a couple guys get hurt that just threw us off enough. I mean, we weren't getting blown out. I mean, we were playing really well. We played teams that played well against us, and we just didn't get it done. But we finished third place behind Oregon and UCLA in the first year with a team that was supposed to be a heavy rebuild, with teams that had way more money on the field.
Yeah.
And I thought that team overachieved as much as any I've had in a
It's awesome.
long time. I'm really, really proud of that group. And yeah, it was just a special year. And unfortunately, you know, like as a fan, you're like, oh, they blew it at the end, And I'm thinking, and if they look in the old Big Ten, you take those 4 teams out that came in,
Yeah.
we would have won the league by 5 games.
Wow.
And that's pretty impressive. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a great year from a result standpoint, but that team really overachieved and got the most out of their abilities and played team baseball to the
Yeah.
max.
Yeah.
It was a real team every day, and that to me is what you can only control the things you can control. We talked about the recruiting, and I guess you
Yeah.
asked me how I was dealing with stuff. I had to take a step back because it was really bothering me, and and
Yeah.
and, and it wasn't healthy. And I just looked in the mirror and I'm like, you have to do exactly what you tell your players to do. We
Yeah.
control what we can control. And since I've come to grips with I can only control what I control, I can't constantly be getting mad or angry over all the things I can't control. And there's a bunch of them right now. And if you don't, it makes you just want to quit. It
Yeah.
makes you want to move on and do something else.
Yeah.
But I just said to myself, regardless of all of that, all we can do is coach the kids the best we can
Yeah.
and try to do even better
Yeah.
and enjoy it. And that doesn't mean you don't fight
Yeah.
or to fight
Of
against
course.
unjust or whatever. I'm not saying that, but you cannot let it eat you up and just control the things you can control. But success for me is like, um, yeah, it's did we come together as a team? The whole process, did we do a great job with the process?
Yeah.
All of those things are what I'm looking at from a success standpoint.
And you're winning on top of it.
Well, that's the thing I tell people is like, if you do all those things right,
You'll win.
it doesn't guarantee 100% you're going to win, but most of the time the wins follow.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we talk with our team all the time about. It's like whether we're playing a Division 3 team on a Tuesday in February because the weather's nice, or we're playing LSU in a tournament week 3, or we're playing a Big 10 team, Ohio State or Minnesota or whoever, Nebraska, and then we're playing another Division 3 school, early in the season. Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why if you look back and go through all of our stuff, there's been a few, but we haven't lost the teams that we should beat very often, a handful in 13 years.
Yeah.
We also beat a lot of teams. If you go back and look historically, we beat a lot of teams we shouldn't beat and do it fairly consistently.
Yeah.
And yeah, and yeah, it's just I tell the guys basically, we establish our system, how we play. If we're doing a great job with our mental game, at the end of the game, we look at the scoreboard. It's going to tell us most of the time whether we did a good job. And
Yeah.
we chart things. We chart free bases. We chart quality at bats. We chart all the things that help us in the direction to win. And I think also being very honest with your team,
Yeah.
because like if we're playing a team that is loaded, like we're playing a top 5 team, top 5 SEC team or whatever, and we've done the scouting report and they blow us out of the water talent wise. Let's just say that, okay?
Yeah.
I will tell them, all right, here's the deal. They're better than us, okay? But this is what we have to do, and it's a challenge. It's not scaring them. It's like, all right, we have to play really perfect, all right? And every mistake that you make against a team that's way better than you is going to be magnified. Now,
Yeah.
if it's even or you're better, you can live through some of
Sure.
those mistakes. But when you play a top elite team, because they don't always show up, sometimes
Right.
just because they're elite talent doesn't mean they're elite mental game guys.
Yep.
Doesn't mean they're elite teammates or unselfish. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times you'll get a group of talented guys that you can out culture, what I call out
Yeah.
culture. If you play darn near perfect, you got a chance.
Yeah.
And if they show up and play like us, we're going to get beat. It's just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's going to,
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
is. And so being at Upper Iowa, you and I, when we teed it up 75% of the time, probably with less overall talent and had to find ways to win, I think we have a really good system for beating teams that are better than us talent wise, because we have to be elite at what we do on the culture side,
Yeah.
on the team side, on the process, on
The
the
process side. Yeah.
yeah, and we've got to have 9 guys go up to bat that are trying to help the cause, help the team, move the line. if you're trying to hit a bomb with a runner at third and less than 2 outs and not get the run in, and you strike out, like you watch a lot of I watched a lot
Yeah.
of baseball this year and drove me bananas. I can't tell you how many times I saw second and third, runner at third, less than 2 outs, strikeout, 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 strikeout.
Yeah.
But whatever. But that's what we do well and what we try to do well.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, but whether you're down or whether we also, I was going to throw this out. I remembered I hit a wall there. If you just keep playing, regardless of the score,
Yeah.
if you truly just keep playing, it can't be lip service. You will be shocked at how many times the game comes back to you.
Yeah.
We've had so many comebacks here at Iowa in the 12 years that we've been here. I mean, a crazy amount of comebacks, and comebacks in baseball don't happen all that
Not a
often.
lot. No.
No, because you're talking about elite level closers. You have great starters, and then everybody's got an elite level closer. So you make your hay usually in those innings when you can get the starter out, whatever. And that's
Yep.
even changing because the pitching talent is so good. But you're usually facing a really good guy at the end. To come back when you're down, multiple runs in the last few innings, you have to take what they give you. I've never been a part of any of those comebacks where they didn't beat themselves, walk a guy, hit a guy. So the guys that go up, swing at first pitch, get themselves out, just keep the game rolling. You don't come back in those games.
No.
And so everything that we do, we just try to keep playing. And that's what you'll hear me say in the dugout a million. If you see me talking, I'm like, just keep playing, just keep playing.
Yeah.
Whether we're ahead, whether we're behind, only one way to play. And it sounds like it's pretty basic, but you would be shocked at how many teams just throw the towel in when they're down 4 or 5 in the eighth inning. Just keep playing, and a lot of times they'll come back to you.
It's one at bat at a time.
Those last 3 outs are hard to get.
Yeah. That's it. Well, Rick, there's gonna come a time where people are gonna look back and they're gonna hear the name Rick Heller, Coach Rick Heller. From where you're sitting, how do you want to be remembered when they look back and they hear your name?
I would hope that they said that he was a fair, honest, hardworking guy that really cared about his players, that he was loyal, and that he never put selfish gains ahead of what was best for the program, the team, or even baseball in general.
Yeah.
I've always tried to pride myself because I've always been at places, that we were fighting an uphill battle. And I hate the fact that we have people in power positions that hold the game back for selfish reasons or selfish gain. I've always tried to put what was right, even if it hurt us, voting for the right thing for the game, for the baseball itself, for the good of the game.
Yeah.
That I've always put that ahead of any selfish gain. And I've been on a lot of committees where people could tell you that I did. I voted for things that would hurt us because of our limitations wherever I was at, but it was 100% the right decision to make for the good of the game and the growth of the game on a national scale or whatever, in a conference scale, whatever it might be. And as I get older, I see fewer and fewer people doing that, that will take a stand for the right reason, even if it's not the right thing for them in that moment at their institution. So I would hope that that I'll be remembered at least by those who know that I feel like fought hard for the right things and the growth of the game.
Yeah. You are the game. So Rick, we covered a lot of stuff. Yeah, we started from when you got your first job almost 40 years ago. We worked our way through it, talked about a bunch of guys and your the your philosophy, your process, man. I could talk to you for another 2 more hours about you and what you're doing over there. But is there anything that we haven't touched on you think we should hit before we wrap it up?
Hmm. Oh man, no, I don't think so. I think that you did a really good job, Jeff, of hitting a broad range. All of those topics we could go on each one
Oh
for
yeah.
forever and ever, but we hit a lot of things, relatively quick. But I think we got deep enough for anybody that would be listening
Yeah.
to get a good feel for what we do. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we got an awesome field for what we do, and I'm just waiting for your book to come out.
yeah, I think that might be happening. So I don't know. It feels weird for me to do that because it feels I just don't. I didn't want to put a book out and have people think that is a me thing. I
No,
mean, it's not. That's
it's because
not
you're
what
so
it's about.
humble. It's because
Yeah,
you're
and
so, you like
and
your
I,
players.
and,
You're
if,
humble.
and if you don't ever see it, that's why because it just kind of makes my skin
I
crawl that
think
somebody
I
would
think you
think.
should write it because there's a lot of up and coming coaches
Yeah.
that would love to read it.
Okay. Well, that's
I
good to
would
hear. You're
definitely
giving me
write
the
it.
motivation to finish it off because I was really torn because I didn't want people to think I did it. Because I mean, let's face it, any success we've had from a purely results standpoint, yeah, I mean, we've had our share, but there's not 5 national championships, and there's not all of these. We haven't won the Big Ten times in a row or anything. Like I'm saying, like you would think a
Yeah,
guy that would write a book, but my book is a completely different animal. It's about
yeah,
how you can't give up and you got to fight.
yeah,
You got how to overcome crazy odds and to me, you asked about success and it just hit me. I guess that would be the one thing I would say for all of the guys in the majority of the country that are doing this. You see the guys at the very very top, and you see the guys that maybe are winning multiple championships. And this
yeah,
is no knock on those guys. Okay, I'm not saying this as a negative, but it's all relative. Like us going to the World Series or winning a regional and winning conference championships at Upper Iowa with how the odds were stacked against us, to me, like that is every bit as big as winning a national championship if you're at an elite school with every advantage, and that's what
yeah,
the expectations are. You see what I'm saying? But it
yeah,
takes a really, really, really smart, savvy, good coach, good recruit. I mean, you got to be really good, even if you have those advantages to win the national championship. So I'm not
yeah,
knocking anyone. I mean, I look at that as just as impressive. But to the guys who are toiling and driving every day and maybe not getting those championships, you have to look at it realistically, and it truly is relative. Like at UNI, I took over for a guy named Dave Schrag, and Dave was the coach when they joined the Missouri Valley. They used to be a Division II team, and they joined the Missouri Valley in the early '90s. So Dave slowly built the program up. He was having to fight all those battles I was telling you about, in the heyday of the Missouri Valley, just like when I was there with all those really good teams. And he had got it to a really, really good point when he got a new job and I took over. He left that program in a great place. But to give you some perspective, from let's say '91 or '92 until 2002, they had never won a game in the Missouri Valley tournament. Okay, they had never beaten Wichita State one time,
yeah,
not once in all those years. And
yeah,
so we won the Missouri Valley tournament in 2002 and went to a regional. Um, to me, like that feat was every bit as much as a team that had all those advantages
yeah,
that's winning a super regional or winning a national championship, even because the odds and the stuff that we had to overcome was just
yeah,
so great. And perspective wise, I mean, you look at that process. I mean, it was yeah. And so that's the thing. So the guy that's at a school where he takes over in high school and it's um, it's an uphill battle. I mean, you got to measure success in a different way than the general fan is going to measure it.
yeah. It's not just about winning a championship, right? Every year, it's about building the team, the culture,
Yeah,
the
and
process.
it's about getting the absolute most out of that team
Yeah,
that you have, and
overachievers.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking to do,
Yeah.
and that's success really to
Well,
me.
it's obvious, what you bring to the table is what the game needs.
I appreciate
And
it.
your track record speaks for itself. Your winning record, the games you've won, the championships, the major leaguers, the All-Americans. I mean, you can go on and on. The impact you've made on all these young men, and it's just fun to watch. So Rick,
Thank you very much.
thanks for taking your time out of your day to be on this show to share your story. Again, I could talk to you for 3 more hours, but I know you got to get going. But thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna be watching you win the Big Ten this year.
Well, I hope so. It's going to be another challenge, like we talked earlier. But no, Jeff, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun and really enjoyed the time and great questions and really well done. So thank you.
Great. Well, thanks for being on. And as I always end this show, I say, stay strong.
Yep, stay strong.